The Book of the Magi, Law, Prayers, and Spellcraft of the Three Holy Kings by Dr. Alexander Cummins. This is a lovely little book by Revelore Press, published by Revelore Press, which digs into the three kings of Christian mythology and maybe before Christian mythology from the perspective of grimoire magic. It's fantastic stuff, folks. So the first half of the book goes into the lore, goes into the history of how the three kings were thought of, the possible precursors to the festivals of the three kings. Of course, I'm reviewing this because today is the 6th of December, Epiphany, and it's the day of the three holy kings, and so it makes sense for me to show you this particular book. Well, it turns out the 6th of December was also an important day for the Egyptians, a day when the water from the Nile turned into wine, and so there's a whole bit of research in here about that, about how then that transformed into various other ceremonies and myths and so on and so forth. Fascinating stuff, absolutely fascinating stuff. And as you go through the progression of beliefs throughout history and throughout Europe surrounding the three kings, you finally come to this section over here on the negromancy of the Magi, the black magic of the Magi, and it's fascinating stuff. And so this whole second part are the workings, right? The works of the three holy kings, starting from the very innocuous and very much still practiced in a very open way, certainly in France and in a few Latin American countries, I believe, the cakes of the kings. And so that is described in detail. It's certainly something that I used to do with my family, my parents, my grandparents on the 6th of December or any subsequent weekend when we'd visit my grandparents. We'd get a cake with, it would be a frangipane tart or maybe a brioche tart, actually. Dr. Cummins describes the difference. And there would be hidden somewhere in the cake a small, very often porcelain figurine that sometimes represented baby Jesus and sometimes represented something else, and sometimes it was a little piece of plastic, a plastic four-leaf clover or some kind of representation of luck. And whoever got the slice of cake that contained that tooth-destroying surprise would receive a crown and would be crowned king for the day. So that was a very enjoyable thing to do, and that's all described in this first segment here. But then as the chapters go on, these rites become more and more specific to the grimoirist and to the grimoire magician. Some drawn from the 6th and 7th books of Moses, and some drawn from other traditional sources, some from actual grimoires, some from simply accounts of workings, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to read about, and clearly imbued with power. I mean, you can tell just by reading the rituals and reading the spells how powerful these methods in fact are. I'm made to think of, sorry, I had to pick it up from the shelf, Carl Nordblom's Historiola, The Power of Narrative Charms. So there's quite a lot of this. I've reviewed this already. You can go and check out my review earlier on in my channel. But there's quite a bit of that going on in this book of the Magi. I recommend it as a quick read for anyone who is interested in the lore of the Magi for their own practice, and who might like to point to the three kings as examples, as biblical examples of clearly magicians, right? Clearly astrologers, clearly practitioners of magic, being thought of in a benign way in the Bible, and people who like to say, who like to point to thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. This is a nice retort to that, right? It's a nice way of saying, hey, do you know what? The three kings were particularly appreciated and still are to this day. And the rituals that are described within this little book are really very interesting indeed, and certainly Dr. Cummins has taken great pains to ensure that all of the workings are workable to this day, and it's I'm sure they would be a great pleasure to perform. There we go. That's Book of the Magi by Dr. Alexander Cummins. I hope you enjoyed this very, very short overview of this very, very short book. But this one's going to be joining the books on my shelves. It's definitely going to be one of the ones that I keep. And a big thank you to Revelore Press for sending me this copy of this book, along with a good few others that you can look forward to me reviewing in the very near future. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up, hit the like button down below, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Please look after yourselves, look after each other. I'll see you very soon with another video. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. See ya. Bye-bye.